What did I say? What did I say? When college football looks like we're going to have a sleepy little slate, sleepy little weekend, that's when the upsets awake. And awake they did. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of College Football Under Review, our Week 6 recap episode. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It helps us know that you enjoy the content and helps us out in general and shows that you want to be a part of the Under Review community. But let's look at some of these headlines from Week 6 that we have picked out. It seems that sunshine is finally over Miami as they look poised to finish out their schedule in confident fashion. Out in California, they got beaches, Bruins, and football. And that's what UCLA does, taking down number 7 Penn State this weekend, getting their first win after going winless. And before going into this game, they had not had a single second this season where they were leading any game. And then multiple teams make second half comebacks to win or just fall short. And Billy Napier, that Billy boy, halts an execution by the Gators fans. Now, let's take college football under review. But before we do that, I've got some exciting announcement to make. We've got our first ad read. We're about to talk some business. And what kind of business are we talking about? We're talking about 30A Hot Tubs. 30A Hot Tubs is a family-owned and American-built business supplying Viking tubs that feature high-quality material and superior components, ensuring that every aspect of the hot tub is designed to last for years to come. When it comes time to relaxation, recovery, and overall well-being, few things compare to the soothing experience of a high-quality hot tub. And for Rob Abel, it's all about helping people improve their health and quality of life. Whether you're an athlete looking for muscle recovery or someone who simply wants to unwind after a long day, soaking in a hot tub can provide numerous benefits. The ideal combination of warm water and hydrotherapy jets can ease tension, lower cortisol levels to help combat anxiety, and a hot tub even promotes better blood flow, which leads to better muscle recovery, reduced soreness, and improved flexibility, combined with overall cardiovascular health improvements. Even a nice nighttime soak can improve sweet sleep quality by relaxing the body and mind before bed. So if you're interested in experiencing the therapeutic benefits of a Viking spa, reach out to Rob Abel today. If you mention this ad to Rob, your journey to relaxation and wellness starts with a $200 discount off one spa and $600 discount for an order of 2. 30A Hot Tubs. Whether you're looking for some relief from sore muscles, a way to enhance your fitness routine, or simply a place to relax with family and friends, Rob is here to help you find the perfect hot tub to fit your needs. Now, with our ad out of the way, let's take our top 4 games under review. And before we do that, just want to mention again, great friend of the show, Rob Abel. Definitely check him out if you're in the 30A area and you're trying to get a hot tub because, I mean, who doesn't? It's getting to be fall time. The weather's getting cooler, and I think a hot tub just might hit the right spot. Now, what did hit the right spot was this Virginia-Louisville game. Virginia winning in overtime 30-27. Virginia is off to their best conference start since 2007 with this overtime win, and the great offense was saved by the great defensive play because this game looked very ugly on a box score recap. The defense was able to get a scoop and score and a pick 6 off of this Louisville team and allowed them to win this game because their offensive stats weren't crazy at all. They had 149 pass yards and 88 rush yards. Yeesh. Not the best game watching with my eyes, even though it was somehow exciting and crazy. This game went into overtime, and I said on Thursday's show that Louisville would win if they had the ball last. And who had the ball last? Virginia. They had the ball getting the touchdown in overtime, while the call for Louisville's supposed overtime touchdown was reversed. So they settled for a field goal, and Virginia just knew that they had to go in and get a touchdown because they really didn't do much in the second half of the game. And Louisville was doing great in the fourth quarter, doing that 2-minute offense that, like we said in in Thursday's episode, that they have a great fast up tempo that they're able to put on defenses when it comes time to having a comeback. Even though the Cardinal offense was dominant, and it was, wide receiver Chris Bell got 170 yards and 2 touchdowns, so shout out to him. But you can't win games in college football if you're going to lose the turnover battle. And Louisville, moving forward in the season, must fix their turnovers because it has been a constant issue with this team. The turnovers almost lost them the game against James Madison a couple of weeks ago, I think week 2 or 3. So it's something Louisville needs to figure out. And Virginia with Chandler Morris, I mean, more power to you. Keep going. So, like I said, Virginia wins 30-27 over Louisville, hands Louisville their first loss. And now we get to Alabama in the Vanderbilt game. Number 16, Vanderbilt travels to number 10, Alabama. Alabama wins 30-14. And you know me, I'm the Alabama fan. I'm going to go out here and say it. And I'll say this. Going into halftime of this game, if you watched it, I was sitting down and talking to myself, as all great athletes do. It's an actual statistic if you want to look it up. I was telling myself that, Alabama, you better not do this again. Do not do this again, because the Vandy rush in the first half was dominant. Pavier, outside of a fumble, looked pretty decent, and it seemed like an even football game. And the second half just was not an even football game. Alabama just shut out Vanderbilt, which was pretty amazing. And going over this Alabama team, I've got some positives. I've got some negatives. Some of the negatives I will say first is I can say that the special teams and the kicker better get it together and get better, because at the beginning of the game, he missed a field goal, and that's 2 bad field goals in back-to-back games. He had one just awful miss against Georgia last week, and he barely missed it, but I mean, dude, it was like set up perfectly for you. I am almost just, I'm in the back of my mind when he missed the field goal, all I could see on the back of his jersey was Papanastis. It just felt like that. It just felt like it read Papanastis. I had to wake myself up and say, no. He's not there anymore. He's not there anymore. But the other thing that I have minor gripes about, the Alabama pre-snap communication needs to be more sound, because we're having to waste timeouts to prevent these false starts, and that's happened in multiple games this season. But let's not be negative. Alabama won. Everyone's happy about that, right? Well, at least I am. And outside of the negative, let's talk about Ty Simpson. Dog. Jeremiah Bernard. Dog. Jam Miller. Dog. Ryan Williams. Dog. They're all dogs. This is a team full of dogs. This offense is starting to take shape and is looking deadly. I think Ty Simpson might just, the 4 years that he's been at Alabama, I don't think he's man. I think he's more machine. I think they've really just been tuning him in the back of the locker room, because this dude is looking like one of the most efficient quarterbacks. Now, he did throw his first turnover this season, so that stinks, but hey, who cares? We won the game. But I'm finally happy, too, that we're beginning to implement the run more and outrushed the Vandy offense. We did that. I know. I can't believe we did that. As is Alabama. Can't believe it. But on to the defense. In the second half, the Alabama team, they just put the Womack on them and shut them out. And the defense was attacking the ball and did great deflecting passes without getting pass interference penalties. And this is Kalen DeBoer's second game overall and in a row having fewer penalty yards than his opponent. And speaking on Kalen DeBoer, everyone said Kalen DeBoer's not a good coach. He's not a good coach. Well, Kalen DeBoer at Alabama is 5-1 against ranked opponents, and overall in his career, he's 13-2 against ranked opponents. And Vanderbilt, they played a great game. I'm not going to argue. This Vanderbilt team has gone leaps and bounds from what they were a couple of years ago. Clark Lee is a great coach. They better do everything they can to not let that guy leave. And I think Vandy will continue to perform well in the SEC this season, but all the things that they did last year to beat Bama didn't happen in this game. And we said it on Thursday's show that Alabama needed to not allow them to have these things. And I'll tell you these things right now. This is the key stats that lost Vanderbilt this game. Vanderbilt, 2 turnovers. Vanderbilt, 5-11 on third downs. Vanderbilt, 0-2 on fourth downs. Vanderbilt had only 22 minutes of possession. We limited them half of what they did against us last season, and Alabama outrushed them. The Alabama team looks a lot more consistent and poised than they did last season. Very streaky. It seems like that is over, and it seems that Ty Simpson really has this Bama team on a different mindset, and you could tell that he is a Saban-coached quarterback, and he's been in the Saban program for so long. And I think that this Bama team is starting to shake out pretty well in the SEC compared to how the first week went against FSU. We'll get later to the FSU-Miami game, but FSU still looking like a great team. So, just going to say it again. Alabama, number 10 Alabama defeats number 16 Vanderbilt, 32-14. And now, 11, Texas Tech beats Houston 35-11. And Texas Tech, they continue to dominate the Big 12 and look poised to be a legit playoff team. And I'm not just saying like a bid, I'm saying like a competitive team in the playoff. Like if you get them in the playoff, you're like, oh crap, we actually have to, we got to watch out because this team is good. And you may be saying, it's just a Big 12 team. They're not, how good can they be? Well, I'll tell you how good they are. Baron Morton, the Tech quarterback in this game, threw for 345 yards, 1 touchdown. This team has gone 5-0 for the first time since 2013, and with I think it's their 8th 5-0 start in school history. They have been outscoring opponents this season 243-56 and have won by 24 points minimum in every game this season. Now, the Houston team, it wasn't competitive, and the game fell down competitively vastly when Wegman, the quarterback, went out in the second quarter and never returned. Once he left, the Houston Cougars were just unable to sustain drives against Texas Tech and slowly went further and further behind as the game went on. And they only got 1 third down completion or conversion out of 12 in the game. It's pretty bad. But Texas Tech is outscoring, outclassing, and outgaining every team they play. And this is the only team currently, I believe, in the Big 12 confidently doing this week to week. This is my last statement on Texas Tech in this game. This Texas Tech team is a top 10 team and should be represented as such when the AP poll comes out. Now that takes us to number 3, Miami. Holds off number 18, Florida State, at Florida State, 28-22. This was one heck of a game, and why, probably the best reason of why you can never count out any team this season. Florida has beaten 4 teams now from the state of Florida. Carson Beck continues to look great, poised, and I'm going to say poised again because it's just my word of the week, and I gotta get it used. I gotta get it in the brain, and kept a relatively clean jersey. So props to the O-line, golf claps, O-line, golf claps. But this is Miami's 3rd win on the season against a ranked team. And before the season started, Mario Cristobal was 1-6 against ranked opponents. So he's already doing something great. And I think it's because of the defensive coordinator, Corey Heatherman, because they couldn't stop anything last season. And that's a huge difference. But I'll get onto the defense in a second. But this Florida State team, they had terrible turnovers and led to a loss this week against Miami, who has a great defense. And this is the same crux that they had last week with turnovers against Virginia. And both of these teams, Virginia and Miami, capitalized on the Florida State turnovers. Florida State is genuinely a good team. They have a great offense, but the turnovers are limiting their capability. It's just not good. I mean, I want to sit here and argue that they're a good team, but the only thing against them is turnovers, but that's also on the team. But I think it's really just on the quarterback because it's just been a lot of interceptions. But we have to give it to Miami. Miami dominated on both sides of the line of scrimmage, stopping Florida State on their first 7 straight drives, including 4 punts and 3 turnovers, while also limiting FSU to the fewest points they've scored all season and limited the FSU rush average around 100 yards. Corey Heatherman, the defensive coordinator there, fast track to being a head coach, in my opinion. What he has done there, the way they attack the ball, the way that they communicate, the way that they are able to sniff out the quarterback scramble and always seemingly have a guy in that spy position to make sure that they don't get the first down, is one of the most sound defenses I've seen with my eyes this season. And I'm going out and saying this as my final statement for all these micro analyzed games that we took. Miami is 100% my number 1 team in the nation, and I am now not just rooting for Carson Beck, but the warpath he is on, because I think he's already made not only a comeback, but statement at this Miami team. And I'm going to say this. I think everyone is kind of forgetting he had a huge injury over the offseason. He tore his something in his arm, his UL, something like that, but he could not throw an arm and had to go out of the SEC championship, and he is still slinging it like he has been able to do before that injury. So I'm rooting for the Carson Beck warpath. Got to get some water. But now we go to our notable games around the country. The first one, number 20, Michigan beats Wisconsin 24-10. And this Michigan team, with Penn State losing, they see themselves as maybe the 4th or 3rd best team in this conference. Bryce Underwood and Justice Haynes, I think, is probably one of the top 3 quarterback and running back duos in the country right now, with how well they're able to complement each other on that Michigan offense. And with Sharon Moore back, this team looks better and got a win while continuing to develop Bryce Underwood as the next great Michigan quarterback. I think in 2 years, I'm not going to be shocked if I have him as a Heisman favorite, or Vegas has him as a Heisman favorite. He's going to be a great player. He's just young. And with this being like the last year of all the COVIDites, there's going to be an experience and veteran drop-off in the next 2 to 3 years, which is a perfect way for him to be on the rise, with him being a true freshman. So I'm going to say it again for Michigan fans. You are in good hands. Bryce Underwood is your all-state. Okay. Florida. They won't back down in the swamp. I know they play that song. It's cute. It's whatever. They beat number 9 Texas 29-21. Billy Napier staving off the mob. For how long though? Because their schedule is still very difficult. But the biggest thing for me was just, wow, Lagway. He actually played a good football game. This whole season, I didn't think he was capable at all. It seems like the savior of the swamp has revived. It seems like he has rose from the dead. Maybe he's not a false prophet like we claimed on Thursday's episode. But the Florida defense, they continue to do what it does and limit the Texas offense to 3 third down conversions out of 11 in this game. And what else do we have to say about Texas? Week by week, Arch Manning looks more and more mediocre. And this isn't a great look for their SEC opener because the SEC is a tough schedule. Any given Saturday, man, any given Saturday. Schedule's not as tough, but if they're going and losing to teams like Florida, who was not dead in the water, but very close to and almost having just a downtrodden season, no, they are coming back and they're doing well. And so it's just not a good look. And if you're a Texas fan, you can't feel confident. But talking about Arch Manning, because that's all anyone is talking about on this Texas team, I think the big question now for Texas fans and every fan of college football is if he stays another year, which he probably will. I don't think he will make it in the draft this season. So let's say he stays another year at Texas. The big question I have is, will he be better next season? Will he transfer? I don't know. It's very interesting to look at if he can finish this season off strong and if he stays at Texas or has that spot still. Now, so Florida, beating number 9 Texas 29-21. Texas they're just looking decent against a not only good but great defense. But I mean, if you want to win a national championship, you're going to have to do well against great defenses. But Washington and Maryland, this game was fun. This game was one I got wrong. And I'm very upset about this game, actually. Washington won 24-20. And on Thursday's episode, I was reading off all the stats and everything, and everyone was saying, and even in my mind, I was like, Maryland's just Maryland. They haven't played a great opponent yet. And I was looking at all the stats, and I was like, wait a minute. They're actually playing a lot better than just great or good. They're playing great. And I said in the preview that I had Washington, and I changed it to Maryland. And they were playing so well at halftime, I literally changed the channel on my multi-view for a different game. Yes, I watch the multi-view because we've got to consume as much football as we can so we can keep college football under review for you. How do I do it? Sometimes I just don't know. I'm just like that. But the next thing I know is that they lose. They just lose the game. I'm checking the scores. I was like, oh, how much did they win? Oh, they lost. They lost. And how did they lose? Well, Washington had a 20-point comeback in the fourth quarter with their final 5 drives of the game, including 45 plays, 298 yards, 24 points, and a kneel down to ice the game. And those 298 yards were 75% of their game total yards. So Washington wins. They continue to show that they are a good team in the Big Ten, though I don't think they will make it anything crazy out of their season, but they are still rebounding very well from the departure of Kalen DeBoer 2 seasons ago. And then Nebraska against Michigan State. Nebraska 38, Michigan State 27. And this game was ugly, yet somehow high scoring at the same time. As well, Michigan State quarterback Aiden Childs had to go to the medical tent and didn't have the same play capability when he went back into the game. And was kind of the whole story. They were up, and then Nebraska kind of came back. Dylan Raiola, he played a decent game. The Nebraska rush was really good in this game, and Nebraska was able to get it done. And I chose Nebraska to win simply because it's the 3rd-year rule. I don't know what it is. It just happens to be that way. That's just how it goes. And then number 6, Texas A&M beats Mississippi State 31-20. to 9. Whew. What a game. What a game. Texas A&M, they have established their defense as legit, limiting this Mississippi State air raid offense to 219 total yards. And if you're a Texas A&M fan, you got to be happy seeing Texas lose and Texas A&M winning, and possibly, are they going to do it this season? Are they going to break their 8-4 season curse that they have had in recent years? Because this Texas A&M team, their defense is good, but it's good to the point to where they stop you consistently so much to where your opposing defense, like the Mississippi State defense, they played well, they were good, but the offense for Texas A&M just wore them out so much to a point that they were able to eventually just open the floodgates and put it on them. So Texas A&M, it's like this slow cooker. You know that crock pot dinner is going to be really good. It's going to take a while, but slowly but surely the meat is going to fall right off the bone, and the running back and throwing is just going to cut right through the opposing team's defense. So that's our first slate. Now, second slate, another great round of games. But one team that we need to talk about more, and it's our fault that we didn't talk about them more, was this Cincinnati team, because they have played a lot better than we expected coming into the season, and they hand number 14 Iowa State their first loss of the season, even with Rocco Beck. And this game was wild. Yes, the score is close because Cincinnati won 38-30 over Iowa State, but looking at the game as a whole, the Bearcats came into the game hot, leading 31-15 by half, and had the stronger rushing attack in this game, outrushing Iowa State by about 104 yards. The Bearcats' schedule only sees one more team ranked in the top 25, and that just sets them up to making the Big 12 title game if they can continue performing the way they did yesterday against Iowa State. Because Iowa State's no slouch. They're a great team. They've got a great quarterback in Rocco Beck. And Cincinnati just came out firing on all cylinders. Sorsby, their quarterback, he looked great. And I'm interested to see how Cincinnati goes and plays further down the season. Because it's really all in their hands. Their schedule isn't that hard, and they just got to grab it. They just got to grab it. That's all they got to do. Ooh, this next game. Ooh. UCLA. The Bruins beat number 7 Penn State 42-37, handing James Franklin the first back-to-back losses Penn State has had in 46 games. This was a game. Penn State, this whole squad was unable to come back in this game and make it close. And, the Penn State team coming into this game played lackadaisical, and they weren't ready for this offense. Jim Knowles got embarrassed in the first half. The Penn State team was able to come back and actually make it a very close game and forced UCLA to finish the game with Nico Amalev. Nico Amalev. But they did just that. UCLA finished the game, and they made a crucial 2-point conversion in the fourth quarter to make sure it was a 7-point difference, and they just looked dominant the whole game. It was crazy. It was ludicrous. Nico looked and played like the recruit he was perceived to be coming out of high school, and it seems like that their coaching change was a great decision. Nico threw for 2 touchdowns and had 3 rushing touchdowns. Dude was on fire. But we can't give it all to Nico. We have to give it to the UCLA offensive coordinator Jerry Neuheisel. He was the tight ends coach this week previously, and he had not 1, but 2 days to prepare against one of the best defensive coordinators in the country right now in Jim Knowles. And he absolutely embarrassed him. And you may say that Neuheisel, that sounds like a familiar name. His dad was the Bruins head coach at one point, and Jerry himself, the offensive coordinator, was a Bruins quarterback. And 11 years ago, they had a big comeback against Texas. And this is now not the first time, but the second time after the game he has been lifted up by the players in his career while being there. Just a UCLA guy through and through. But I mean, crazy, crazy stuff. 2 days to prepare against number 7 Penn State. He even said in a post-game interview he wasn't even correctly calling the plays because he had his headset up. He wasn't familiar with everything and fumbled around with everything. So he was able to put on a clinic while not even having the best communication. This guy is already looking like a star. But we got to turn it on Penn State. Are their playoff hopes dead? Because they just might be dead. They said it was James Franklin's and Penn State's year. It was our year. Our year. We are bad. You are bad, James Franklin. You are not a top 10 team. You are not a title contender anymore. Or could this just be what they need? Now, I don't think it is. I don't think this is anywhere close to what they needed. So what happens now? James Franklin, he cannot win the big game. He has made a career out of going, I would say 10-2 seasons, 1-loss seasons, just missing the playoffs. This 12-team playoff was built for his type of team, one that didn't win games but didn't lose them and, did enough to get by. But it's starting to become nut-cutting time because what he hasn't done in the past is lose to these teams that they shouldn't lose to. Yeah, it's okay if you lose to Ohio State. It's kind of like the SEC with Alabama. Alabama used to be the dominant team. I mean, if you're going to lose to Alabama, you just make sure it's not going to be an embarrassing loss. I understand that you got to play Ohio State. You got to play some of these top teams. You took Oregon down to the wire. Yeah, that's completely acceptable. Your playoff hopes are still good. But now you go to UCLA and lose like that. The score looks like it wasn't bad, but boy, that first half was bad. We are bad. That's the response that James Franklin and Penn State has. And I think that there's a real question of, are the fans starting to question whether or not James Franklin is the guy? I think a lot of Penn State fans are in this position where they're, one, fair-weathered, because I don't think Penn State is as diehard of a football fan base as some of the teams in the South. And prove me wrong if you want to. But they are in this situation where it's like, I don't know if they can get someone better than Franklin. They may be in the situation where you'd rather have the devil you know than the devil you don't, because it's very hard to find greener pastures in today's college football world with getting the right coaching job. So I think that this Penn State team is now on the outside of the playoff looking in. They are one of these backdoor teams that does not have a season in their control. They do not have, the awareness to lose another game. They don't have the ability to control their destiny. They are going to need some crazy stuff to happen for them to make the playoffs, in my opinion. So congratulations to UCLA for finally winning a game this season, improving to 1-4, and Penn State now 3-2. I guess it's not their year. Drew Aller, have fun in the 7th round of the playoff or 7th round of the draft next year. You should have gone last year, because that's something crazy to think about. Just last year, Drew Aller could have left, and Bo Prabula could be the quarterback right now. And what would the team look like? I don't know. I think in a better spot. But I'll move away from that game. Don't want to beat a dead horse too much. Baylor coming back. This was another team that came back and won and beat Kansas State 35-34. And Kansas State, they just found another way to choke a game away. And they gave up 18 points in the fourth quarter to Baylor to allow them to win the game. Kansas State, I mean, they have fallen from grace every week, just more and more. But another team that I think is looking like a riser in the Big 12 is Kansas. Kansas beating UCF 27-20. And Kansas continues to be a good win for Missouri and are what I think one of the stronger teams in the Big 12 and in the hunt still for the Big 12 title race. I just had to, bring in Missouri somehow because I feel like that was a catapult game that put Missouri on the right track. And I was interested to see if this Kansas team was actually good or they would fall off. And then our last game to look at, Clemson against North Carolina, 38-10. Dabo Swinney, he wins another game. Crazy, crazy stuff. North Carolina, that's not looking good. I think North Carolina fans at this point are starting to question a lot more about their head coach in Bill Belichick than his relationship to his 24-year-old girlfriend. Because this experiment, I was very excited to watch this experiment and see how it goes. He was one of our first topics in our first inaugural episode because I think it was so interesting this offseason. And it has just not gotten in. It has not been interesting. It has not been, easy to watch. And that's why I haven't really been watching the North Carolina Tar Heels that much. We'll see if he stays another year. I hope he does. So it's an interesting one to just look at, but it's kind of like a cover your eyes type of situation. And then some takes we have to talk about from this week. Alabama, they are looking like a serious contender for the playoffs in the SEC with teams like Texas falling out of grace and other teams in the SEC possibly not being as strong. But I think that Alabama is definitely a playoff contender, especially with other teams like Penn State getting out of it. Miami and Texas Tech are 100% some of possibly the teams in the top 5. I would argue that Texas Tech is a top 5 in talent, though we'll see how they can execute the rest of their season. Arch Manning, he's just the hype's gone. The hype's dead. The Manning madness it's over. The Arch madness, it's done. Texas just needs to find a way to win the rest of their season if they want to try and get in the playoffs. And then let's not too many takes from the weekend just because it wasn't as crazy. We had some crazy upsets, but outside of that, everything kind of stayed the same. All the favorites kind of won where they should, except for like 3 unranked teams beating top 25 teams. So our closing categories. Who is our nominations for the Heisman hype seat? I'm going to have to go. Our 3 nominations are Ty Simpson. I think even though he had a turnover, he is still looking better and better week by week. He commands this offense, and they are just a well-oiled machine with him behind center. And then next is Carson Beck. Carson Beck, he's not there on the yards, but he's getting it done. He is outperforming a lot of these opposing quarterbacks in games, and he puts the game away when it needs to be put away. And that's why I have Carson Beck in this. He played a great game against Florida State. And then I'm going to have to throw out Baron Morton, the Texas Tech quarterback. I mean, he's not doing great on Heisman odds or anything like that, but I think that the talk about him and his stock has risen a lot this season, especially after this week. I was worried that he wasn't going to be the same after the concussion against Utah, but he seems to be playing just fine. And now, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good. UCLA reminds us why college football is one of a kind. This game is why I love college football. This storyline, this narrative is one of the many reasons we should all love college football. We should all see it through rose-colored glasses because that's the only way I'm going to see it. This UCLA team, they have had a bad season. They have not trailed by, or they have not been ahead at all for a single second this season in the last 4 games. They fire their coach. They get an interim coach. And then the offensive coordinator, a tight end coach who has 2 days to prepare. He played quarterback at UCLA. His dad was the head coach at UCLA. He's thrust in this position. And what does he do? He goes out there, gets it done with a quarterback that everyone cast to the side as a misfit toy. And they did what college football does. Gives us hope. And hope is what UCLA now has. UCLA went out and took down number 7 Penn State. David versus Goliath, a true masterpiece, true beautiful game. And it's nominated in the Watts College Football Archive. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. The bad. Penn State fans. I mean, their emotional stability has got to be out there. Like, yeah. Alabama losing to FSU, I was in emotional distress, more like frustration than distress because I know we were good and we have turned out to be good. But losing back-to-back games, one to Oregon, yes, great team, but UCLA, that is bad. That is just bad. Bad look for Penn State. Bad look for any Penn State fan's emotional stability. If you need help, just talk to a good therapist. Talk to a good therapist. They'll be able to help you. Because I don't think James Franklin is going to be your therapist at all. And then the ugly, Arch Manning against good defenses. He's just not good. It is just an ugly sight to behold when he actually has to play against these teams. And the Arch Madness is gone. The Arch Madness is gone. I really hate to say it, but the Arch Madness is gone. And then player of the week. I'm going to say a runner-up is in Nico. I'm going to leave you in the dust because that's what he did this week, not Nico, I'm going to leave. He's a runner-up. I had Carson Beck because I felt like Carson Beck played a more complete game, and he looked better than Nico. Nico had one more touchdown on him, but I still just had to give it to Carson Beck. And that's who our player of the week is, Carson Beck. He was 20 for 27 on a pass attempts. He was 240 yards passing, and he got 4 touchdowns against FSU. So Carson Beck is our player of the week. So Thursday, we have our Week 7 preview with our top games, including the Red River rivalry, Oklahoma versus Texas at the State Fair, Alabama at Missouri, Indiana at Oregon, and Ohio State at Illinois. I'm Nick Watts. Thank all of you for tuning in into this episode. And and we'll see you next time when we take more college football under review.